And we're live.
What's going on, good people? What's going on? I was so tired this weekend.
Yeah.
From everything I was doing, I was so
busy
tired.
weekend.
It was a busy weekend.
I haven't done that much in one weekend in a while. Like I did something every day and every night of the entire weekend.
Really?
Basically, I think the only thing that was free was because we did it was the entire Sunday for me, like 11 to 11.
I don't like being that busy, to be honest with you. It was not a fun.
That's too much.
I enjoyed what I did, but
I couldn't do that every weekend.
Yeah.
No.
I couldn't do that. Like,
do you remember when you could do that every weekend?
No.
And you did do that every weekend?
Even then, I wonder, like, could I really do it or not, without forcing myself to do it?
I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, if there was something to do, like whatever it was, and it was cool.
Like I never wanted to miss a good time.
Yeah, I enjoy that now. Like if the weekend is a vibe, there was parts of the weekend that were a little off.
But also, my idea of a good time has changed.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
absolutely.
As we get older,
absolutely. Give me a good game night.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Something low key.
Yeah.
Give me like a nice charcuterie board.
Works.
Yeah. I was just I was thinking about it today. I mean, I was like, man, this Friday I want to do something with my friends inside. Like I want to just chill with something
just, like
cool,
relax.
you know. I'm gonna try this beer out.
Is this your first time trying it?
Yeah, never had it before. You know, I'm
what made you get it?
Coppertail fan. Coppertail Brewery.
Oh, okay.
I like to try all the different ones they have out.
Look at you becoming a beer connoisseur.
That's pretty good. You probably like this one better than you don't like Unholy. This one's a little bit lighter than Unholy.
Feels worse.
Does it?
Yeah.
No.
That shit hurts.
Oh my gosh.
I just don't like IPAs.
I was gonna say, don't you like darker beers?
I feel like this is dark.
Don't look dark.
He's a beerist. He's racist.
I like
a beer.
Yeah. I like what is it? Belgian and wheat beers. Anything like in that realm is my shit.
So what are IPAs? Are those just like when it's like caramel colored?
Indian Pale Ale is what they call it.
All right, that's what I like.
Very bitter. Very bitter.
I like those.
Method Heads, y'all know what we're about to do, man. We're gonna start this thing up in
5
a minute and 15 seconds.
Okay, thanks for everybody.
We're gonna do it. We got a great topic tonight for the Method Message.
Hey, if y'all
relationship power struggles.
If y'all in here and y'all was at the live, you know what I'm saying? We'd like to give y'all a shout out.
Yes.
We appreciate y'all.
Good.
So we'll get this thing started soon.
I say we go ahead and start it now. Fuck it. We got 14 people in. 14 people in here. Let's start it while we got them in here.
Let's get it going.
Yeah. What are we waiting for?
I got to do a thing, right? I got to do a thing. Let me do my thing.
Oh, Lord, you're supposed to be professional by now.
I'm using my left hand.
Take a seat and put your feet up. We gon' meet up. Sit with me and sip some tea with Remy Mulatto. Give me bottles of Hennessy and Moscato. They had enough already, but there's plenty to follow. I stay poetic, but Jada-wetic, remaining effective. Conversation getting heavy, staying respected. Playing the record, maintaining collective. Saying what you thinking, ain't no place for rejection. I claim it, I meant it. It's mostly everybody talking honestly over drinks. Tell me what you think. It's mostly everybody talking honestly over drinks. So tell me what you think. It's mostly everybody talking honestly over drinks. Tell me what you think. It's mostly everybody talking honestly over drinks. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think.
Welcome to a Method Podcast. I'm Jay Noetic.
I'm Remy Mulatto.
I'm Cass.
And you know I bring the content.
I bring the chaos.
I bring the balance.
And with that, we believe the best way to have truthful conversations
is to have mostly everybody
talking honestly
over drinks. And that's what we call a motherfucking method. Hey, man, we are back for another episode in season 3, episode 5. We had a busy weekend. Thank y'all for everyone who came out this past Sunday for our Method live experience.
10/30/2022 is in the books.
It's in the books. I'm looking forward to it. The next one.
I had a blast.
What are we drinking on tonight? And Method Heads, what are y'all drinking on?
I'm drinking the same thing you drinking on, so you tell them what you drinking on.
Tonight we are partaking in this beer
partakage
called Cloud Dweller. It's a hazy
Cloud
Indian pale
Dweller.
ale
All right.
brewed by our very own Tampa Bay Brewery, Coppertail Brewery. If you're looking to be a sponsor for a Method Podcast, I'll let your boy.
Yeah, this podcast about drinks.
It's about
Drinks should
drinking.
sponsor us. What the fuck?
Casamigos is
I'm boring.
Not partaking
I'm
tonight,
boring.
which is okay.
It's water.
Everyone gets the benefit. That's why it's called mostly everybody.
That's right.
Doesn't have to be every week. Every Wednesday.
It's not everybody.
I'm a
drinks
part of the
every week.
minority today.
That's all good. Hey, so the last couple of weeks in Method movie, I was able to stomp these two to my left and right. But at the Method Live experience, someone did guess the movie when I did
They
the
sure
Bronx
did.
Sale. So, Remy, let's get into what we call the Method movie. All right, so this is where I'm going to play a movie clip for the table and for the Method heads watching and listening. You have to guess the movie before these two, and let's see if they can guess it before one another. I think this is an easy one this week. I think y'all are going to get it. All right?
Okay.
Y'all are going to get it. I'm feeling generous.
All right.
What movie is... Oh, hold on.
Mm.
I'm already messing up. What movie is
Some sex movie.
this?
Sounded like a porno.
Right.
Delicious.
So, how long have you and Linda been dating?
Mother.
Oh,
No, it's all right. It's a logical question.
Ron
voice.
Burgundy, Anchorman.
Yeah.
Ours is a new note.
It is Anchorman. Anchorman 2. Let's let it play off for a little bit. Listen up.
Hot and sweaty and stanky. There's some stank on that love.
what are you talking about?
Let's put it this way. I'd be busting nuts like a squirrel.
Oh no, we don't have conversations like that.
I'm undressing the white
He's
elephant
so
in the
funny.
room. I'm breaking down the barriers of race by assimilation. And that's all I'm doing.
Come off like a jerk.
What the fuck?
I think it's going well.
If you haven't noticed, we don't converse like that.
Okay. Look at Big Papa down here. He's saying to himself, shit, look at this honky. Sitting at my table eating my food in my house? Touching my daughter? I have touched your daughter.
Honey.
We have done things, Papa. You ain't gonna like it none.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I'm just a guy
I
from
love
So
that. movie.
this is Anchorman 2. Will Ferrell. Congratulations to
Woo!
Cassandra Casamigos.
I had to make my comeback.
Remy, did you know what it was?
I
You
was
was kinda
getting there,
struggling?
but I wasn't there as fast as she was. She got that shit.
She was on it. So Anchorman came out in 2013.
Wow.
The budget for that movie was $50 million, and the box office did $173 million. What do y'all think the number one movie was in 2013?
Gosh, 2013.
I'll give you a hint of some historical hints, maybe to jog your memory. In 2013, that was a year of the Boston Marathon tragedy. It was also the year where the government shut down for 16 days, and Detroit filed bankruptcy, and George Zimmerman was acquitted in 2013.
Lord have mercy. A lot going on.
Any guesses?
I know they did a movie about the Boston Marathon.
Was it Batman? No, it wouldn't have been Batman. That was like 2010 or something like that.
It was actually
What was the genre?
actually, you know what? I don't know. Keep guessing. I'm gonna find out.
See, I need to know how old I was. I don't know what you know what I mean. So like,
Well, 2013 was 9 years ago.
yeah, so I'm
All
like
right, so
29.
I would say it's sci-fi. Sci-fi. I would
Was
tell
it the
you.
Alien remake?
No, but it was pretty big. It's about starving.
Avatar?
It's about starving.
Starving.
The Hunger Games.
Oh man.
The Hunger Games
I love
was
that
number
movie.
Post-
The books were
Post-apocalyptic.
better.
Yeah.
If you said post-apocalyptic, I would have got it.
So where do y'all put Will Ferrell on the comedy list, comedian list?
As far as comedic movies, number
Yeah.
one, easy,
Wow.
I think he's great.
easy.
Number
He's-
one.
Yes. Listen, nobody was as consistent in comedy movies as Will Ferrell was.
He's pretty funny.
Yeah, nobody.
He is pretty funny.
Yeah, he was the goat of that shit.
Oh, so Neil actually guessed Hunger Games.
I wouldn't know. I don't know if I put him number one.
No, who would you say is number one? Jim Carrey?
I mean, Jim Carrey kind of stopped a long time ago, right?
He did.
Doing comedy
Yeah, I don't think
movies.
he has the longevity.
So you put him ahead of Kevin Hart?
Absolutely. Kevin Hart has sustained a lengthy career as far as making comedy movies, but how good are they?
Yeah, I agree. They're
Like,
not as funny.
Seth Rogen.
Rogan.
He's
yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think Will Ferrell can put a movie out right now.
Will Ferrell's funny.
Yeah.
He's funny.
He can still put a movie
I
out.
think his best movie to me was what's the racing one? Brother?
Oh,
Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights. To
That
me,
was a
that was
great
his funniest one.
I
Funniest
like
one.
Step
And
Brothers.
Step Brothers was pretty funny too.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's how dope he is. Everybody has like their own
Step
favorite.
Brothers
Mine
was
has
funny.
to be. It wasn't really his movie, but I loved his role in Wedding Crashers. He was fucking.
Oh
hilarious.
yeah, he was good.
He was so good in that movie.
What do y'all think the number one song was in 2013?
What was the genre?
If it wasn't Drake, I don't give a
R&B.
fuck.
There's R&B.
Okay.
So to give you another hint, the song ended up being engulfed in a copyright controversy,
Oh,
and they
no.
ended up having to pay.
I know who it was.
I don't.
I'm gonna play
Was
one
it-
little
was
clip.
it, Blurred Lines. Yep.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that was
Yeah, I
involved in
remember
a lawsuit.
I remember that. I remember
Yes,
where I
because
was.
that little boom, boom,
Boom,
boom.
boom.
Yeah, it was.
It claimed that it was taken from another song, and they heard it, they knew it, and they won.
Oh man.
So yeah. All right, man. We're gonna move on. Congratulations to everyone in the comments. We appreciate you. Let's get
coming through.
into the Method Weekly, man.
All right, we're gonna do the Method Week.
So there's really only one thing I want to bring up in this weekly. Quavo of the hip hop group was killed by gun violence. Is it Quavo?
Takeoff.
Take off.
Takeoff was killed?
Yeah, it was Takeoff.
Oh, Takeoff was killed in
Mhm.
hip hop group by gun violence a couple of days ago. It adds to a long list of hip hop artists that have been killed due to gun violence. Nipsey, Pop Smoke, Young Dolph, PNB Rock, XXX, Tupac, Biggie. Where do we, if we are to put blame anywhere, where do we put blame on these deaths that have happened due to gun violence in the hip hop culture and Black culture too?
So the thing I keep seeing floating around is the music.
The music.
Yeah. They're saying like the stuff that the music that they're making is toxic.
I mean, I think people have been dying by gun violence in all communities for a long time. I'm not necessarily sure that hip hop is the reason, or hip hop lyrics are the reason why people are killing one another. I mean, they're dying. In the last few have not died technically in the hood, right? They've died. One died either in the car dealership. One died at a Waffle House.
Mm-hmm.
One died,
It was at a bowling alley, right?
yeah, Pop Smoke died at his house, at a mansion in California. You know what I mean? Like it hasn't been like they've been in the hood.
Were they shot by people who knew them?
Only Nipsey was, as far as I know. Nipsey was the only one that was shot
All
by
of the
someone.
others were just random strangers.
Yeah. So I don't know if I agree that hip hop is I don't think the lyrics help. You know, I don't think rapping about drugs and guns and killing and all that shit helps.
The question is the music, or so if we're still focused on just the idea of the music, is what is said in music influential to like people, to anybody
Mm-hmm.
who might be affected in that way, like kids or teenagers, or
I don't know.
usually
See,
not adults, but hopefully not adults,
Mhm.
but sometimes adults.
I mean, I grew up on hip hop, man. I grew up.
Yeah, it
listening
did.
to-
I don't feel like it affected me.
It didn't
in a
affect
negative
me.
way.
That's the same thing people used to say that like video games were too
Mhm.
violent. we got to stop all the killing and shooting in the video games because the kids are. I'm like, we grew up on these. I think it's a very small percentage of people who are influenced to that point where they feel like they want to go out and kill somebody.
I'll say this.
So then, is it a mental thing, mental health issue?
I'll say this. There are a couple of hip hop songs that just make me want to fight a motherfucker.
Really?
Yeah, just fight. For what? For no reason. But like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Really?
Like the workout songs. The workout songs is fight songs.
I used to feel like
Yeah,
listen to
they
3
just
6
make you want to
Mafia.
work out though.
3 6 Mafia. I'm like ready to fight too. Like, let's go. You remember when young Lil Jon came out and everyone was trap kings and So I definitely can feel like how it can influence you. I don't know. I just don't think. I think these young men have to realize at some point you have to not be a part of a certain culture, certain crowd, certain types of people when you reach a certain level of celebrity status and financial status. Because we all know, apparently he was out till 10 o'clock in the morning at a bowling alley. So my philosophy is nothing good happens after 12 a.m. outside unless you're at home doing some shit. So
True.
So any other thoughts on gun violence and hip hop culture?
He was 28 years old. That's terrible.
Young. That's
Super young, man. So
very sad.
Hopefully, these young men will surround themselves with people who can protect them in ways that their friends cannot.
Yeah.
Maybe we can also start changing the lyrics. Maybe the lyrics do play a factor. I don't know.
I think they can, but I think you're spot on when you talk about culture and environment. It's who you surround yourself with. It's the situations you place yourself in.
I agree.
You get to a certain point where you're aware if a situation is dangerous or potentially dangerous.
I remember there was a couple of events that I was part of a networking group here in Tampa Bay, and the person that was hosting it, he was just a hood dude, and I was just like, yeah, I don't think I'm going.
It's a no.
Yeah, it's a no for me. I just can't.
I've definitely pulled up somewhere and been like, and kept going.
Like, yeah, I'm not part
Absolutely.
of that. I can't do it. So, all right, man. So let's move into what people came here for. I mean, they came here for all of it, but I'm sure they came here for the method message.
Talk about the method message.
Let's get it. So we are talking about relationship power struggles. And I think it'll be a great way to start off with this clip that Casamigos dropped in our group text. And I think it'll kick it off
It's
with
a good one.
So let me just go ahead and play this for y'all really quickly.
What does a submissive woman do for her man?
Everything.
What does that mean?
Like packing his bag, unpacking his bag, just making sure all the things that he wants. And like I pretty much read his mind. So it's like, if I know you and I study you, like I know how you are in the morning, I know how you are about midday, I know when you're in this mood, what you need. Like before you can ever ask me for something, I'm already on it. I mean, he's spoiled. And when I talk to my girlfriends about it, I was like, oh, how are you guys doing? And I'm just like, girl, he's rotten. I'm like, he's spoiled rotten. Like he's rotten, but I love that. Like I want him to be that. I think my biggest flex is how I treat my man. And I've been known to love people back to health. And sometimes it's very draining, but my love is my superpower. And I used to hate that about myself, but now it's like, I'm just embracing it. Like that's who I am. Like if I love you, I can heal you.
It's your joy.
It is my joy. I love to see him eating the meal that I cooked. I love seeing him sleep easy every night, like clockwork. I scratch this man's back to sleep. And I know when he's asleep because I can tell when his breathing changes. And some people might think that's psychotic, but that's like, I just know that's when I'm like, oh, I can stop now. But I find joy.
So what are your thoughts on this clip? What are your initial thoughts? I think you should go first, Cass.
You
I think you should go first. You dropped the clip. Let's talk about it.
I really love this clip, and I absolutely agree with everything she said in it. And when I first saw the clip, my initial thought was, this girl's going to get dragged because everything she's saying goes against the independent woman persona, right? Like, pack his bag, make his lunch, put him first. What, girl? No. But it's a philosophy that I was actually raised on.
Yeah.
And I did stray away from for a very long time, but I found my way back through the love of a man. And it's how I choose now to operate in my relationships, in my worthy relationships. Let me say that, because I think you can't be that type of woman that she's describing to an unworthy man. You shouldn't be.
No, I agree.
But to a man that is worthy, absolutely. So I agree with it.
Yeah, I was in this text. I said that I've never experienced that type of love or caring from any of the women that end up in a relationship.
That made me sad.
It's the truth.
To hear you say that.
But I think it's probably a lot of men who are in my situation who have not, right? And I think if someone is relationship oriented, then they probably have experienced that, right? They've been in enough relationships to have experienced it. But someone like myself who does not just jump into a lot of relationships, I've only had a few.
Yeah.
I have not experienced that type of someone packing my lunch or just putting their time and energy into me without, I do it.
Right.
I do it, but it ain't the same.
You've never been on the receiving end.
No.
That makes me so sad.
I mean, I think that we're living in a different time right now. I don't know why this is not playing. But one thing she did say that I really liked, she said, and I agree, this is how I feel about myself, is that she said that her power is being able to love people back to health.
Yeah.
That is something that I truly believe in myself. And I've told people plenty of times, regardless of how long you are in my life.
Yeah.
If you give me the opportunity, I know that I'm gonna help heal you.
Yes.
Right. I am a healer. I'm not a person that breaks people.
Yeah.
Right. At least I try my absolute best not to do that.
And if you leave, I want you to leave better than when you came. I loved when she said, my biggest flex is how I love my man. Or I didn't, that's not word for word. Don't quote me. But
close enough.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Because I think a lot of times, especially when girlfriends get together, there can be a lot of complaining. It's easy, and maybe it's the same for guys too. When y'all get together, it's easy to go to like the negative or whatnot. But I don't know that we celebrate enough our partners or how we're treating our partners. And I don't know if it's because of shame or hesitation, because we don't want to be judged or looked at as weak or submissive, which to me, submissive is not a negative term. But I don't know that we do that enough. But I love that when she was like, my biggest flex is how I love my man. I was like, yes, girl, speak on that. I agree.
I respect that. Remy.
What's the question?
Talking about the video, just the whole video.
I don't really have any thoughts about that.
Why not? What do you mean?
For real?
Well, so what did she say? She said,
I'm gonna need you to focus. I know you high, but I need you to focus.
No, I mean, it was
she's basically talking about she considers herself a submissive partner, and she's describing how the ways that she takes care of her man, everything from packing his bag to anticipating his thoughts and his needs to making sure he's comfortable in bed before going to sleep, stuff like that.
Okay. I mean,
have you experienced that? Like, do you feel like that's something that you've experienced in your relationship, that most women that you date do that?
I'll say in most of my relationships, I feel like I've experienced enough of what I felt was good for me. You know what I mean? Like I've definitely felt very taken care of before.
Okay.
Multiple times.
Okay.
So I know what that feels like. The way she's talking about it is a little further than I can comprehend. But that's just because I haven't necessarily experienced it.
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody personally who talks about it, except,
Me.
now. Okay, so now we're talking about it.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I
But
don't.
yeah,
I don't
let's-
think it's a
let's
norm.
talk about it.
I don't think it's.
They don't really talk about it. Yeah.
But I think that is part of the power struggle in relationships, because a lot of women today will feel like by them doing those acts
Mm-hmm.
makes them weaker
Or
Yes.
in the relationship or
Yeah.
not. And I don't think it's a weak stance, but I also believe that a man should be pouring into his woman too, though.
right.
Absolutely.
Like the things that she says she does, because she at the end of another clip I'm gonna play later, they talk about like, does your man know you basically the way you know him? And she kind of hesitated. And she was like, yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you're really into someone,
Yeah.
you should be able to tell how they feel when their energy is off, when they are sleeping or whatnot. So yeah. Any other thoughts on that clip? Do you feel like women? You say you feel like women don't want to do that these days.
I don't know
Well, let's
that.
talk about the worthy thing. Like,
Okay.
what is it that? I mean, obviously, it's different for every woman, but like, what is it that you need to feel that he is worthy? I wonder. In the comments, somebody, anybody.
I think we talk about it in the second clip
Uh-huh.
that we're gonna play, but I think most of the things that we try to do for our partners that we love typically stems from something that we saw growing up,
Right.
how we were raised,
Yes.
how we were taught. But there are some traditional roles that people just want to do.
Yeah. And even as adults who we surround ourselves with, because
Mm.
friends can play a large, heavy influence
Oh, for sure.
on your relationships as well, whether you acknowledge it or not. If you're looking at the way they're treating their partners, or you're going to them for advice and maybe they're giving you the wrong damn advice, but that's the person you're leaning on, so you're interpreting it as good advice, things like that. For me, it was how I was raised, and I did stray away from it. Like, I remember growing up and seeing my mom cater to my stepfather in every way, shape, or form. It was almost like I had tunnel vision. All I saw was her pouring all of her energy and effort,
Yeah.
and I didn't take the time to see the ways that he was refilling her cup.
Mhm.
And so I took it as, oh my God, you're a freaking doormat. You're sitting
Yeah.
here doing all this stuff for this
Yeah.
man, and he's doing nothing for you. And that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But it was like I was so set. I just had a very narrow-minded view.
Mhm.
And so I remember being a teenager and thinking, like, I'm never going to do this shit for my man. I ain't never going to serve my man. I'm never doing his
Yeah.
laundry.
Yeah.
No. And I operated that way for a very long time because I had a slew of bad relationships.
Mhm.
I was
Where
with
you probably did all that stuff. and
where
wasn't
I
appreciated.
did start doing those
Yeah.
things, and it wasn't appreciated, and so I was left drained and empty. And it wasn't until I got into a very healthy relationship that it inspired me to want to do. All of a sudden, I was like, man, I want to do anything and everything to put a smile on this man's face. If I can make his life easier in some way, shape, or form, I'm going to do it. There's
Yeah.
not a hesitation on my part,
Yeah.
because he makes me feel safe. I trust him. He protects me. He provides. Those were the things that I was looking for, Remy, when you talk about worthy man. So I don't know. It's funny how like your opinions can change
over time
and how- yes.
based on your interactions with
based on your
someone.
interactions.
Because at some point you were broken to a
Yes.
certain point, and it took another man coming in to heal you to a point of it's okay to do
Mhm.
this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it does take the right person to show you it's okay to do that. So speaking of submissiveness, is it unattractive for a man to be a little submissive to his woman? Is it unattractive for a man? Is submissiveness unattractive in a man for women?
I think a good dude knows when to listen to his woman. So like,
So are we saying that listening is submissiveness?
I feel like when you stop and like if as a man, like whether you feel like you know what to do or not, if you just stop and just like listen and be like, all right, let's do it your way, and it goes well, everybody's gonna be happy.
Yeah.
Like everybody wins. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. Because I think sometimes that's where power struggles can come into play, when there's a partner who constantly wants it their way.
Yeah.
Or believes that their way is the right way all the time and has a hard time bending or being flexible. So to me, it's attractive.
So submissiveness is not necessarily the acts that you do. Submissiveness is just more of letting go of the control.
Well, it's a sacrifice. I think when you submit, you ultimately you're giving up something. Like I wanted to play PS5, but she wants to fucking go to dinner. All right, fuck it, let's do it. You know?
Yeah.
So there's a submission there. You submit in those instances. I think a lot of men don't talk about the ways that we submit. I think that's all there is talk about how much we want women to submit. Nobody really talks about like men and submission.
I actually don't look for. Again, I think submissiveness is attractive, but I can say without a doubt that I don't expect my woman to be like servant to all my needs.
So let me ask you, like, I'll use something that I do. So in my relationships, I often am the one that cooks. And when I cook, I will make your plate. I will serve your plate.
Mm-hmm.
I will bring your drink.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will also be the one to clean up and do the dishes. I don't see an issue with that.
Yeah.
To you, is that like servitude?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's an act of service. Right.
Okay.
And so, but how I am, I don't expect my woman to do that. But if she does it, I'm the kind of man that I'm like, all right, well, you cook the dinner. I'm going to get up and wash the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to wash the dishes. I'm going to put stuff away because, again, my thing is partnership. I want to give what I'm getting back. So for me, if you serve me, then I'm going to take that other part off of you and do the other part. Now, I'm not going to fight her about it. You know, if she wants to like, no, I got it. Like, I think the first time you go with someone's house and you know, early in the dating, you definitely allow people to do what they do.
Yes.
Right. It's like, okay, that's what she wants to do. All right, cool. I'm just gonna sit back and chill and let her.
Yeah.
But eventually, I just feel like she's gonna be like, well, damn, you ain't gonna wash these plates.
Eventually, you're like, hey, there's some rules around here. Just so you know, some rules.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's like where communication.
There's a way we do things up in here.
That's where communication comes into play, right?
Of
because
course.
you were just saying, like, for you, when a woman cooks for you, in your mind, you're like, man, I want to like let her relax, put her feet up now. She did the first part of the heavy lifting. Let me take care of a second. For me, I love seeing you sit back after a meal and just relax. And I want you to stay in that relaxed, peaceful place. And I got it. I'll take care of the dishes. I don't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
Now, you best be taking out the trash.
Yeah. It's other things that are expected.
There's other things that I'm like, okay.
That's the other side of the game. I do the dishes, but I ain't taking out the goddamn
I'm not touching the trash.
Motherfucker. Yeah. I can't. Yeah, that's a fun conversation.
And I will actually, and I have voiced that before, not in a mean way, but
She was like,
sort of
somebody gonna have
gentle
to take this
prodding,
trash out.
like, hey babe, the trash is looking kind of full. you know.
Yeah.
That's a test, right? We talk about doing tests because I want to see what you're gonna do. So I don't know. I guess that maybe goes down to like, I don't know if that's considered tit for tat or
Cass walking in the kitchen and be like, somebody
You and
somebody in this house gonna have to take this trash out. It's not gonna be
and
me.
it's not gonna be me.
Not it. I'm about to go in the room.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm
Which is,
I'm
I
with
think
it.
that I understand that and I appreciate that though. Like, because taking out trash is so easy. I'd rather take out the trash and do the dishes any given day of the week. So I'm like, all right, that's fair trade.
Yeah, I'm not
Fair trade.
I'm not a traditionalist person at all. However, there are some things that I just do. Taking out the trash,
Mhm.
I'm pumping your gas.
Oh, I love that.
I'm cutting your grass.
Men that are listening, that is so sexy. When I pull up, I don't, even if I'm one driving, if I pull up to a gas station
and he just get out
and
automatically.
you just get out, that is so
No
sexy.
question.
Now, I ain't always paying for your gas, but I will pump your gas.
Bonus points if you
Bonus
pay.
points
If you
So-
pay for the gas.
So one thing that my fiance does that is really adorable and I appreciate is that whenever I stop at a gas station, she automatically hands me her card.
Mm-hmm.
She just hands it to me, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Don't worry about it, boo. I got it." Or I'll let her pay because sometimes I'm like, I ain't got it.
That's
Sometimes
fine.
you should.
Sometimes I ain't got it, but
It's okay.
But,
And I
but
think
she
that's
does it
fine.
every time.
That's how,
Like she never doesn't do
But-
it. So that's like the other
Yeah.
side.
but you most modern day men would rather have the woman that offers
Right.
and not accept it than to have the woman who just sits with her hands in her pockets the
Yeah.
entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
at the
that's
end of
the
the day,
problem.
if a man needs it, he'll ask, or
Yeah.
he'll be like, "Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
like yeah, today for
That's
sure."
true.
What are your areas of dominance that you have worked on or have to work on or are currently working on? Right? I think we all have certain aspects in relationships where we're just like, I'm this dominant, this is me. Boom. Boom. It's like, and then your man or your woman is like, damn, like, can you guys chill a little bit? Like, what's some
Yeah.
areas?
Whether or not to have the TV on at night when you sleep,
So you like to have the TV on?
I do not.
Okay.
But it could be problematic if you're with someone who does require that. Then you got to be like, all right,
This damn
how do
chair.
we do this?
See, I told you it was you.
It is me. Too damn fat.
Whatever.
All right, so
So you like to have the TV on off, and she likes to have it on.
Who wins that battle?
I do. I win most of the battles.
Not a good
Because I
thing.
fight.
Renee. That's
And
not a
Because I
good
fight.
thing. That's not a good
But I
thing.
fight.
That's
It's
not a good
because I
thing.
fight.
That's not a good thing.
I be fighting.
Are you? Do you argue?
I do argue.
You do.
I do. But it's usually with a purpose. And if it's not with a purpose, I apologize. like I'll come back the next day and be like, I was tripping.
Mm.
I know mine.
What's that? What's yours?
And I've been called out on it. So I don't know if it's from like a combination of my professional background and being alone most of my adult life, but I'm very like quick to just take the lead and make the decisions on things. Especially when it comes to like planning things like
So you're a planner.
dates
Yeah.
or trips
Right.
or whatever. And I'll just kind of like run in headstrong.
Mhm.
And I was called out on it before. I had one guy, he told me, he was just like, can you just sit back for a minute and just let me be the man for just a moment? And I was like, I was humbled so quickly.
Mhm.
Because it wasn't intentional. It was just when you are accustomed to making those decisions
Yeah.
by yourself, it was almost like I was like, oh, I kind of forgot you were there. But-
For sure.
So that's something I'm trying to work on. I'm trying to not be the first one to like be out the gate.
Mm.
I kind of gauge whoever I'm dating at the moment, kind of see, and if he wants me to take the lead, no problem doing it.
Mm.
But I try to pay attention to kind of maybe what he wants to do
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. I would say an area that I tend to be working on when it comes to like dominating certain aspects of relationships would be like, I tend to always like, always comes down to like quality time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm like, look, I need to see you. Hey, I want to see you. I want to spend time with you, blah, 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 blah. And the moment someone does not want to spend time with me or can't find the time,
Right.
I feel some kind of way about it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, well, fuck you then. No, I ain't saying all that, but
You get in your feelings a little bit.
a little bit. I'm like, well, you don't really fuck with me then. Like, so I could be very domineering. Where it's like, look, I need to see you. I wanna
Yeah.
spend time with you. And the flip side of that is sometimes I feel like if someone wants to have all my time,
Yeah.
then I feel like, ooh, no, I'm not
Red flag,
interested.
red flag.
Red flag. Right?
Codependency.
Yeah. So it's definitely
Is that your love language? Quality
yeah,
time?
Quality time is my number one love language.
What's your love language, Remy?
He doesn't know.
All of them.
He always says
All of them equally.
Acts of service is my prominent.
Acts of service.
I think
Acts of service,
mine it moves around a lot.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why I say it's pretty equal because
We all have a little bit of all of them.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
ever play The Sims?
Yes.
I'm like all of my love languages are like The Sims. Like they just kind of got
That
levels.
sounds
at
very
different times.
complicated.
It does.
I mean, listen.
It does.
That sounds like
Listen,
a lot of work.
That's Prince
Why it's
energy
not.
right there. I don't know what you want me to do with it. I don't know what you want me to do with all this Prince energy. It just is what
A
it is.
lot of work, man.
Yeah, quality time is definitely number one for me, and it used to be number two, like a 1A, 1B, what used to be like a physical touch.
Uh-huh.
But what I've learned is the thing that you tend to end up needing second most is the thing that you didn't get from the last person you were in a relationship with or the last person you dated, meaning that it created a new sense of.
That's true.
I don't want to call it trauma. I think everyone used the word trauma a lot, but it creates something in you where
Like a complex.
Yeah.
That's true because my secondary used to be quality time. And then in my last long-term relationship, I got all the time I wanted and needed.
Mm-hmm.
But now I've noticed my secondary love language is words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
And in that same relationship, he just was not big on verbal compliments.
Yeah.
It was just very rare. And it wasn't something I realized I really needed. Like you said, I think I got like a complex. So now in my dating life,
You want to hear it.
I'm like, don't I look sexy? Don't I-
Absolutely.
Doesn't my hair look nice? Like,
yeah. It causes some kind of
whereas
complex.
before I didn't need it.
Didn't
It's
need
just
it.
crazy.
Didn't need it. And I think that comes back down to like, again, power struggles of like, listen, I need you to say these things or do these things or whatnot. And if someone doesn't want to do it because they seem like it's a weakness or makes them seem soft, then
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Do you think people use their partner's love language against them in that way for power?
I think if the person is a very selfish person or a very narcissistic person, I think they do. And I think
Yeah.
what happens is when they aren't getting what they want, and they'll be like, well, I know you want quality time, so I ain't gonna give it
Right.
to you.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be distant. Now
Dangle
and,
the carrot.
Yeah, and that just creates a bigger
Damn you.
issue. So let me play the second clip from the same podcast.
I come from a Caribbean household too, and it's interesting because I never liked that about the culture, that it's so boys first.
It is. Yeah. Do you feel like that's why you're so outspoken now?
Like my dad is very dominant and very alpha and very like, I need to leave a lasting impression. And instead of me looking for a man who was like that, I wanted to be like that. So it's similar to,
I love that.
because you had a dad who had these qualities and like
Yeah.
you were looking for qualities like your dad so that you could be like your mom.
That was good.
It's
Yeah.
interesting, right?
Yeah, it's true though.
So I'm like,
Interesting.
is the goal to acknowledge that you're one way or the other? Because in me acknowledging I'm very dominant, I know where I have to soften up. And in you acknowledging where you're submissive, you know where you have to get more assertive and aggressive.
Yeah.
So is the joyful place for everyone to get to the middle?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I want to get to the middle. I think that, and this goes to me studying my person. I have a A+ in his studies because I just know him, you know. And then it's
Does
like,
he have an A+ in you?
I think so. I think so. I mean,
She had to hesitate.
She's
on that, though.
lying.
She's
She's
lying.
definitely lying
it's
there.
easy for a
Lying.
man to be with me because they don't have to do much. You know what I mean? So it's like,
You ain't asking for enough, boo.
So when she
She was
hesitated
like,
there,
"Does he know
though,
my name? Let me see."
No, she's definitely lying. I don't
She's
think
lying.
I don't think her
She's
cup
lying.
is getting filled the way she's filling her man's cup.
No, not at all. Because it would have been no hesitation
Yes.
at all
Yes.
if she was getting her cup filled the way.
I mean, but everybody get their cup filled differently.
So here's the thing. I don't necessarily believe,
That's
Everybody get their
True.
cup filled differently. We
But-
don't know what that man doing for that woman.
we don't know, but the way she
You know what I'm
hesitated
saying?
though. So
she hesitates. When
so-
a woman has a good man,
but
she
said-
be shouting
she
from the
said-
rooftops.
But that might not be her love.
So
language.
no, let me
That
just
might
say
not be
something.
her love.
If you ask your fiance, she said, "Baby, do you love me?" You be like, "Hell, motherfucking yeah, I
Hell,
love you."
motherfucking yeah.
And then you said, "Do you love me?" And she said, "Yeah."
That's so
You gonna feel some
terrible.
kind of way.
Yeah,
You gonna feel
that
some
is
kind of way.
terrible.
You gonna be like, something. She's
Some-
lying.
Yeah.
She's lying.
So I think the love language that she speaks most fluently is like acts of service, right?
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
like hardcore.
Yeah.
So maybe like her love language that she gets from him is the same way. Like she just needs that one thing and that's enough, whatever the fuck
Yeah.
it is, be it physical touch or whatever. I don't know the love languages.
And some partners maybe don't require a whole lot, but I think that the
Depends on the
balance
couple.
of love, I think there needs to be a balance of love.
Does it?
Yeah.
I mean, does it really though?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't.
What's-
I don't.
As,
when I-
as
when I-
Tina Turner once said,
What's love got to do with it? Now, I will say that I don't necessarily believe that it's always 50-50 or 100
Yeah, like one loves one more than the yeah. I think it's always
fluctuating because at some point,
I think
sometimes,
it's always off.
sometimes someone's giving a little bit more
Yeah.
and a little bit less, and then at other times, the other person giving a little bit more. It could be emotionally,
Yeah,
financially,
yeah.
physically, whatever it is. It's never
And I think that's
Interesting.
okay, but it can never
Yeah.
be. It should never be one person always getting
all the time. Yeah,
the majority.
you know what they need? They need to make like an app where you could like show where you at, and then the other person could see, and then you could just like, all right, I gotta fucking, I'm gonna have to touch her today, because if I don't touch her, she's gonna explode. I got
that would make
would
relationships
help,
so
right?
much easier. Or we could just talk
Or we
about,
could
or we
talk-
could
or
just
we could just talk
more.
about it,
We
yeah.
could
So
just
much harder.
communicate
That's
more.
so much harder.
Communicating is hard. It's because communication is a very vulnerable act.
yeah.
One of the big issues that I have in my relationship is that there's communication barriers. The way we try to say things just don't come across the right way to the other person. Because
Yeah.
we speak different
Yeah.
languages.
I
So,
knew one couple, they had a hard time communicating verbally.
Mm.
So they went to letters.
Went where? Letters.
Letter. It was an
Oh.
and that's how
Mhm,
they
mhm.
so they would give each other letters and communicate that way.
yeah.
And then when they felt they both had a clear understanding from the letters, then they would sit down and kind of
I like
I kind of liked that
I
because
would do
when
some-
verbal communication is hard for me because I get very passionate
Mm.
and then my temper just
right.
So this is what I did in my last relationship, which it seemed like 8 eons ago, because I've been single for a long time at this point.
how long?
6 years almost.
Has it been 6 years?
Yeah, I've been single for long. I've done a lot of dating though, but
Not a fucking.
a lot of fucking too. It's been good. It's been real
I knew
good.
Remy had to just come in with it.
It's been good. Remy, Remy think I done fucked every woman in
I don't
Tampa
know.
Bay
I
area,
have
by
no
the
idea.
way,
I don't know.
which I have not.
That's actually my first day question. If I go back out there, I'm like, did you fuck that? No. Okay.
What's your Tampa buddy count? No.
So what I was about to say
All right.
before I was rudely interrupted to the guy
Sorry.
on my left. No, I'm joking. So what I did, so I identified pretty early that my woman was not great at verbal communication, like in
Mhm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
That she was a better writer,
Mm-hmm.
expressing herself on paper than in person.
Right.
So I went out and I bought a journal, right? And so in the journal, I wrote the very first entry. And I said, "Let this journal be our way of
I like that,
communicating
see?
and expressing,
Like the
expressing
letters.
myself." Yeah. So I would write in the journal for 1 week, and then when I was for one day, however long I had it for, and next time I saw her, I would give her the journal
Okay.
so she could read it, and then she can respond to it.
I like
write
that.
in it, and then when next time we saw each other, we would talk about what was written in the book, because you have to do both. You can't just be, if one person just wants to be the writer and one other person loves verbal
Mhm.
communication, then what's the compromise? The compromise is, okay, you got the opportunity to write it down, so now let's discuss it in person
I
about
like
what
it.
you've
Yeah.
been written. The problem became we got away from talking about the issues, in person.
Mhm.
It was all written down, and it was always negative stuff in there. So
Mhm.
now all I'm
Yeah.
reading is just the negative stuff, and
Yeah.
we're never talking about it.
Yeah.
So
It's like just reading bad reviews about yourself.
yeah, it's like
One star, really? One star?
Yeah.
That sucks.
yeah. So
That's
it's,
a funny way to put it.
Yeah.
so it could be good, but you just have
Yeah.
to find. So this is something I wrote on Facebook. We were talking about this off camera. It said, this is what I said. I said, accepting and asking for full reciprocation with someone you're dating or involved with does not mean tit for tat or doing everything that I do as some type of measuring stick. It means if I do an act of service for you, at some point, I expect an act of service back. It means if I give you quality time, I expect it at some point to receive that in return without having to ask for it. If I buy you a gift because I thought you like it, I expect at some point in our togetherness for you to buy me something you think I like. I'm perfectly happy not budging on this. Thoughts? Agree or disagree? Because a lot of people in the comments were like,
It's divisive. That's divisive.
they're saying it's very tit for tat, but it's not tit for tat. Like you should never do anything expecting something in return, and that's true.
Right.
Whoever you are at
Right.
your core, you should not do something expecting them to do it in return. But there are some unwritten
This
human
is
expectation that we have.
this is
Right.
how I will put it. I will like flow. You know what I mean? Like if I'm feeling good and everything is normal, I'll just flow. Everything just flows out, and I just do things, and I do the things that I do. And then after like some time, like a
What
week,
that comment say? Sorry.
after like a week, I'll Jay's a Pokemon trainer, gotta catch them all.
That's fine.
After like a week, you know what I mean? If it doesn't feel like there's been any balance, I've just been unloading, and there's been nothing like sent back. Like you send the
Mhm.
Ravens in Game of
Mhm.
Thrones, and nobody's sending nothing back. No, ain't nobody over there. Don't nobody give a fuck.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The energy is
exactly.
not the same here.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
It's
it's
about the energy.
I'm gonna send my motherfucking dragon.
Yeah, so that's the core of it. I'm projecting energies. Like I'm putting shit out. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, throw the ball back. You know what I mean? Bounce it back this way. Let me know this is a give and take. You know, like let me know that we're partners in this.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I'm just dancing by myself.
Yeah. I mean, I read the post.
Say how you really
Um,
feel. Say how you really feel.
So when I read it, I was like, well, he did just give the definition of tit for tat,
Mhm,
but I don't see a problem with that.
mhm.
So like Remy was talking about, like if I'm constantly
Ain't nothing
putting
wrong
out,
with tits or tats.
if I'm constantly putting out and putting out and putting out, and I'm not getting anything in return, I'm going to start using my reserves, and then pretty soon my reserves are going to be gone.
Mhm.
And then you know what? Then I'm just going to be completely depleted.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
not
you
going to
gotta throw
be,
something
I'm not
back.
going to be running at optimal levels for myself,
Yeah.
for my partner. It's an energy exchange. That's how I look at it. So if my partner loves me enough and cares about me enough, he's going to notice when my energy levels are getting
Yep.
low from
Yep.
all
Mhm.
the effort that I've been pouring into him, and he's going to recognize that, oh fuck, I need to switch
Mhm.
gears and turn it around and pour some love back into her so that my partner is back up here, because that's where I want her to be.
Mhm.
So it is tit for tat. Wow.
See, I don't think it's
I
tit
got
for
a
tat.
question.
You don't think
See,
so?
so here's
I got a
how.
question.
Hold on one second. Let me get my thought in. Can I get my thought in? So, how I view tit for tat
Uh-huh.
is, I've been doing these things.
Okay.
I'm keeping a tally in my mind, and then we get in an argument. Well, damn,
Mm.
Cass, I did this for you the other day. I did this for you. I did this for you, and you ain't been doing shit for me. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm keeping a tally. Or let's just say, like, I am complaining about what you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for me is tit for tat. I feel like if you and I were in a relationship, and I decide to be faithful to you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing to be faithful.
Right.
But my expectation is you also will be faithful to me as well.
Right.
That's not tit for tat. I think that's just some expected
It's
things.
a fair trade.
It's a reciprocation.
Tit for tat
Like,
is just a
reciprocate.
bad way of saying fair trade.
Yeah, it's like a it's like a
Yeah,
reciprocation.
yes.
Like we expect a certain level of reciprocation And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Ain't
at
nothing
all.
I think
it.
we're
Yeah, we
saying the same
demonized it a lot.
things. It's just getting lost in the word selection.
Tit for tat.
Translation, yeah.
Tit for tat is
Yeah,
it. Don't say that to me. Don't say tit for tat.
I like fair trade. I would replace fair trade with tit for tat for
Or
sure.
ba- just-
But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I
It's
get
about
what you're saying, Jay, about
balance.
the tally.
Ultimately, it's about balance. And I think you put it perfectly. If you're unloading, eventually you're gonna feel empty, and it's up to them to kind of fill you
Right.
back up. That's
Yeah,
it.
you're my partner. I need you
Yeah.
to fill my tank.
Yeah, and they really your partner, and they really, if
She
they really
said,
love
"Fill her
you.
tank."
Fill my
If they
tank.
really love you, they should already be feeling it before they see it's too low to begin with.
Absolutely.
You know? But what did Kiki say in the comments? It's a long post. They go up.
Oh,
She said, I didn't read the post as tit for tat. The new thing is to say, I have no expectations.
whoa.
I have no expectations, but I see it as a minimum to expect your partner to figure out and do the things that speak to you.
Yeah, it's about reciprocation, man.
Yeah.
I think in a relationship, we're talking about power struggles. Like we shouldn't take so much from our partners
Mhm.
and not expect an equal amount of return
Right.
on some regard.
Some return. Hey, it's an
okay.
investment. It's an investment. I'm not just giving my money to the stock market.
For
I
sure.
like for it to come back a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, give me something.
Yeah.
Y'all have any other thoughts you want to bring up?
I definitely have a thought.
Okay, yeah.
And this is straight out of my relationship. So my girl asked me, and I thought it was the funniest question in the world. She said, "Why do I have to be the bigger person when I'm not the bigger person?"
Physically.
Right.
Mm.
And I was like, "Yo, that's such a good point. That's a really good point."
It's not though.
It is though. It is though. I'm physically the bigger person, so it's kind of like if I go by what she's saying, I have a responsibility to be the bigger person first or the most. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it made me wonder.
I look at being the bigger person as a emotional thing,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
growth, or nothing to do about. I don't care if I am bigger than you. Like I am naturally the bigger person
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want confrontation. I want everyone to love everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the biggest hippie at the end of the day. However, I have reached a point in my life the last 3 or 4 years where I decided I'm not going to be the bigger person just because you expect me to always be the bigger person because you treat me a certain way and you know I'm going to respond
Mhm.
Mhm.
as, oh, let's just fix this. Let's just be with. No, fuck that. When you fuck up, I need you to come be the bigger person and be like, baby, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I did this or whatever. If you can't do that, I'd rather just stay single.
Hey, who hurt Jay? Which one of y'all hurt Jay? I want to know
You
who
said-
hurt
You said
Jay.
hurt me?
Who hurt Jay?
Fam-
Well, I think
family.
it all comes down to pride and ego, though, too.
Oh boy.
I think that often gets in the way of people being able to be the bigger person. I tend to be the bigger person in my relationships because I'm like you. I don't like conflict. I hate going to bed mad.
Yeah, fighting.
I
sucks.
hate this uncomfortable silence or just not talking. Like, at some point, I think you have to get to a place where you're just like, all right, you have to like really try to understand that person's perspective and hope that they hear yours and then move on. And that's my biggest thing. Once we talk about it, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine.
Because what are we saying, really? Because being a bigger person is really about apologizing.
Yeah.
It's really all we're saying.
It's about apologizing and it's about
Yeah.
practicing empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the person
And
that,
that's it.
waves the white flag. The person is like, all right.
So if you're
this
telling
is
me
not
that you're
about
too
this.
big to apologize, I can't fuck with you. That goes for my friendships too, and my family. I got a family member who just recently I just started talking to again
Yeah.
because she kept on doing the same shit she always does,
Mhm.
thinking I'm just going to reach out. I was like, I told my mom, I said no. I said I'm not
You
doing
being
it.
stubborn.
I could have done what I always do,
I know.
and I did initially wave the white flag.
Yes.
And she still didn't say anything. So then I was like, well, I'm just going to do me. I'm not people.
I think you stay true to who you are, though, Jay. Like if that's your natural inclination as a person, stay true to that, but have your boundaries.
Gotta have
So
boundaries.
you got to have your boundaries. This person said, if you're always being the bigger person, are you really being heard? I think so. So when I think of being a bigger person, I think of being the first one to open the door to communicate about whatever the issue is.
Okay, I can see that.
And I'm going to extend the olive branch and give an opportunity to hear you with the hopes that you're going to also give me the same grace.
Yeah.
Has that always worked out for me? No. but it's gotten better with time. For sure.
I can see it. I can understand that and respect that. I would just say that I will not always be the person to apologize first. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind opening the
What about the
door,
majority of the time?
but I do majority of the time. But
That's-
here's the thing: it cannot be repeated offenses by the same person over and over again without changed behavior.
Of course.
If you're always
true.
being the person who's doing the wrong, and then I have to always be the one to say, "Oh, let's talk about this shit," eventually it's gonna get tiring.
Yes, that's true.
And you're like, you know what? And the moment you decide to stop being that bigger person, it's gonna get 10 times worse.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
now communication is breaking down.
Right.
You know.
I agree.
So yeah.
All right.
What else you got over there?
That's it.
That's all you got.
That's it. That's
So
all I-
let's see. So I've heard many women say that they sometimes act like a man or think like a man.
I hear that a lot.
What does that even mean? We're talking about power struggles, and one of the things that I think we always say is like a man does this or a man thinks this way. And I've heard some of my women friends say, "Yeah, we know I was raised by my father, so I think like a man, so I move like this."
So-
what does that even mean?
So I think it's
Mm.
the men are logical and women are emotional argument.
Men are logical and women are emotional.
Yeah, men are naturally more logical and women are naturally more emotional.
I don't
I've
disagree
heard
with that
my whole
statement.
life.
I don't know if it's fact or not, but I don't.
know
I
if
don't
it's-
disagree with that
I
statement.
don't know if it's true, but it seems like it's been like what as far as we know the trend. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I've
But-
also heard women use that phrase in terms of attachment. Like they, in their mind, men are more detached or can detach themselves
Mm.
easily more so than women
Mhm,
in
mhm.
situation when in love situations specifically or sexual situations.
Yeah, it's probably true. I definitely understand. Yeah. I
got
just-
some thoughts about that.
Mm.
I mean, how was the sex?
Come on.
Yeah.
Come when I hear a woman say like she thinks like a man or acts like a man, I feel like she's saying that she has like she's moving in male testosterone
With
energy.
aggression. She's
Like,
With
what does
energy.
that mean?
She's
to
moving
you?
with
Yeah.
aggression.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
aggressiveness?
She's
She's
aggressive.
not being like
But I do think
cautious or
it's more
assertive.
logical thinking for sure. Because
right
I do think,
with confidence, moving with confidence.
or not as, or like you said, detached.
Mhm.
Detail.
Is
But-
that attractive to you?
Hell no.
No.
But
You know- you know who-
I don't know why it's attractive
you know who
to
that
women.
is? You know
why
who-
would you want a man that's
You-
detached?
You know who
Yeah.
who perfectly embodies that in a woman? You ever seen the movie Boomerang?
Yeah.
Robin Givens?
Robin Givens in that movie. She's a perfectly detached woman.
That's
and
very
that's what the movie is
true.
about.
Yes,
It's about
and
a
it does.
detached man dealing with
Yeah.
a detached woman.
That's very true. Yeah, the women that I have heard say that, they say it with pride.
Mm.
And I've
I
never
don't give a fuck.
I've never really understood it. Personally, I love my feminine energy, and
I love feminine energy.
and I do have masculine energy as well.
Well, we all do.
But I mean, we all
But-
have a little bit of, we all have
Yeah,
both,
Men have
but
feminine energy as well.
I love being soft and vulnerable and
I wonder why people
demure, and I love all those things.
So let me ask y'all a question. When it comes to again talking about power
female
struggles,
energy.
like
That's how we should talk about sexuality. How
What
much
do you mean?
male versus female energy do you have?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Just percentage, male
Mm.
versus female. Like that should be the scale or one of the scales.
well, we all have male, female energy, of
That's
course.
true.
You know, and
and I feel
masculinity
like
and
it could be
femininity.
measured. It probably is measurable.
But you never
some
hear
degree.
conversations about it though, because
No.
the fact that
It's because
you hear about women having both.
Mm-hmm.
You almost never hear about men having both. Men having being in touch with their feminine side, or their softness. But I personally have been living my best life trying to be very balanced with being softer and being more emotionally available and talking. And it has not always gone over well. Let me tell y'all, as a black man who talk about emotional shit and being open, I've got some shade for a lot of years.
Yeah.
But it's starting to change.
I don't think
They
it
used to
helps
have a
that a lot
podcast
of women
called-
are hard
Mhm.
these days. So I don't think that
Mhm.
really helps men like you who are trying to tap more into their sensitive sides. And when going back to women who say like, "Oh, I'm like I think like a man. I act like a man." Please don't kill me, ladies. I personally think those women have been hurt
Mm.
very deeply,
Who hurt you?
and that's just them saying my walls are up.
Mm.
Who hurt y'all?
Who hurt y'all?
Who hurt y'all?
It's such a funny voice.
That is a funny voice. It actually sounds kind of like my real voice.
No, it doesn't. How easier would relationships be if we went into them without our preconceived relationship roles and built new relationship dynamics together as we grow together? And what I mean by that is like we all come in, but this is what a man does. This is how a man acts.
Mhm.
This is how a woman acts. This is what a woman does. What if we just come into a new relationship and be like, clean board.
Mm-hmm.
What are you great at? What are you good at?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do? How do you? And then be okay with what they do, or decide whether or not that's somebody you can fuck with.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Would it be easier? It'll be
Yes.
easier, right?
You just describing what happens in a successful relationship. That's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
But why?
Figure out their
But
roles.
why
and
does it
they
seem
play
like that's not what we're doing in this dating
because
world?
because
I'm doing it.
some of us are doing it.
I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it. I've gotten to a place of I'm going to extend grace to you as a person. I'm going to look at who you are as a person. I'm not going to force change. I'm not going to put my personal standards, expectations on you. I'm going to meet you where you are, and then I'm going to choose to move accordingly. Either you are somebody that I want to continue to spend time with,
Yeah.
flaws and all, or you know what? Nope. You know what? It's maybe too much, and I'm ready to move on. And it's been working out good for me.
It's such the way it should be, man.
It's
It
yeah,
should
it's
be.
really awesome. And this is probably the first time in my life where I'm really allowing myself to be open to that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's something that I've struggled with for a few years now. I have always gone into dating, or when I find someone I'm really into, just saying, okay, clean slate. I accept you for who you
Mhm.
are, and let's just build from there.
Yeah.
Because I'm very open and honest about who I am and how I am and what my expectations are, or how I date or how I move. And that has not always been something acceptable, because
Yeah.
again, some women expect a man to do certain things because of traditional roles, or well, I can't date you because you don't believe in this. Well, that's fine. I'm just telling you, here's how I move, and
Yeah.
here's what I'm great at, and here's what I'm good at. Here's what I'm willing to give you in this relationship or in this dating part. And if you expect me to do these other things, it's probably going to be, we're going to bump heads, because that's not what I'm good at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But are you open or flexible though to hearing her needs or expectations
For sure.
and stepping up and doing it
Mhm.
if she's the right person?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I try my best to. So one of the things I'm not really great at is I grew up with all women.
Mm-hmm.
I am okay. Like I'm a softer type of guy, and I am okay with this equal balance. But I understand that some women really want the guy to take more of the lead.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning, even though it's uncomfortable for me,
Yeah.
to do it and be like, all right, I'm I'm gonna plan this. Let's go.
Good for you.
You know what I mean? But I don't want to do it all the time.
Right.
Right. So
That's fair.
So the person for me is going to understand that this is not something that Jay enjoys doing it all the time. He's doing it because he likes me, or he loves me, or he wants to.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the lead and sometimes and plan shit
Yeah.
or do stuff. That's what's ideal for me, and that's not easy to find in a dating world led by social media,
Ugh,
where
that-
it says a man and a woman supposed to do this, blah blah blah. So, Remy, thoughts on anything before we close out the method message?
I think it's necessary to stop struggling for power. I feel like we should probably just have conversations about it and figure out what we need. I mean, you can kind of get it out on the first date.
No, you can't.
No,
Ain't nobody listening
how
on the
many
first
days
date.
it takes?
According to an article I read, the
How many
power
days it
struggles
take?
happen. The power struggle is like the second stage of the relationship. That's after the honeymoon stage. Because, you know, you're in that blissed out phase for a little bit where he's perfect, she's perfect.
Yeah.
We're in our little love bubble.
Yeah.
And then that bubble shatters and y'all are seeing each other.
Do you have
each
to
other's
live
real
with each
shit.
other before you can have those real power struggles?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think they can happen before.
I think they
But
happened before.
I think you find out there's deeper power struggles when you move in together, though. For sure.
I think you're correct, and I think like the power struggle comes to a climax when you finally move in together because
Yeah.
somebody gonna win. Somebody gonna be like, we're living at we're living whatever this
Yeah.
No, we're not getting that fucking couch.
Did you
or
and your
whatever it is.
fiance move in together before the engagement or after?
I don't propose before I've lived together with somebody.
Okay.
I can't do that. I don't know what you
I'm
live
with
like.
you on
I
that.
gotta know.
I gotta live
like.
with you first.
Living
gotta
with each
know
other is
what
a
you live
whole nother
Yeah,
like
it
space.
is.
It
It
is.
is. So one thing we didn't talk about, we can talk about this before we end it on the method message. Power struggles in sexual acts and sexual relationships, right?
You're talking about, like dominance.
As long as
Yeah.
it's consensual, there
No,
should
no,
be
no,
no
no, no.
power struggles.
No, but there are some people who want to be more in control than others, and I think there's something to
They
it
wanna
of
be
like
more in control.
in control or like always
Like women?
in the dominant position or
I'm difficult because I want an equal amount of both.
mm,
I think sometimes partners confuse my assertiveness in the bedroom and my dominance in the bedroom as like something I want to do all the time. But there have been many a moment when like I've been laying in bed and I've been like laying there like,
Yeah.
if this mofo don't like tear my panties off right now, or
yeah, for
if
sure.
I don't like wake up in the middle of the night with his face in between my legs, I'm gonna shoot myself, you know. But it's like you just,
yeah, for sure, I get it.
you know. So I think the communication is key when it comes to that,
Mm.
because I
Yeah.
definitely like both. I like to be
Yeah.
dominated, but I also like to be the domineering one.
I like dominating, but I also, again, I don't mind being submissive. And to me, submissive is like
You want to get tied up.
Mm.
I do want to be tied up. I've actually
Trust, man.
I've actually tied up a
Yeah.
few different women. I've done that, and I enjoy it. But again, I enjoy it in a pleasuring moment way. Like I don't tie women up to beat the hell out of them. It ain't that.
or choke
I
them.
mean,
or
hopefully,
choke them.
preferably.
I'm like, how many
Preferably.
orgasms? How many orgasms can I give this woman before we go the full route? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't mind being tied up either. But I've never done that. That's something that's on my list. I would actually do it.
Would you say, okay, if you had to like choose, if you were more dominant or submissive in the bedroom, what would it be? You have to choose.
I am probably more dominant for sure.
I think I'm more
by
dominant.
far.
Um,
Dominant by far. Ain't nobody tying me up.
but I don't want to always
Fuck
be
outta here.
But again, I don't want to
I
always
don't
be the
wanna
one
I don't
engaged.
trust
always-
nobody.
I don't always want to initiate.
No,
I don't always wanna be on top.
No,
I don't always want to like get things started.
Is it that you want variety
Yes,
I think variety is one of
is
the key
spice of
things
life.
to maintain the power in the bedroom? You got to keep variety.
yeah. All right, man. So that's our thoughts on
Hair
relationships. Ooh, hair
Somebody
pulling.
commented hair
Oh,
pulling. Hair pulling is a
yeah.
yes for me.
I think hair pulling.
According
is
to Al,
essential.
according to
Listen,
Alfie,
we in a pandemic. You got to pull hair out here.
you can pull my beard or wet my beard up. I've had a lot of women want to do that.
That shit is so sick. And y'all come up with that wet beard.
Oh boy, oh boy. All right, she ain't even been drinking. Hey, Remy, let's move into method lessons, man. Method lessons. Our last.
Reading is fundamental. Now let's get on with this school thing. You teach.
What we're gonna do here is we're gonna talk about the thing that we learned within the last 7 days or so.
Okay.
And
Who going first?
as much as I would like to start it off, oh no, I actually got something.
Bro,
Okay,
how you
no.
not have something for your own segment?
Listen, I don't know.
I'm
When
gonna
I
need
got,
you to work on
sometimes I
this
got
prior
stuff.
to the day we record.
Sometimes, okay, so I just wanted to I learned a lot during the live podcast.
Okay, what you learn?
I learned so this is what I was telling my homeboy about that evening. It was like the closest I think a man will experience to his wedding day.
Oh
Or
yeah.
a woman's wedding day. Yeah.
Oh, you
it's like
enjoyed
that.
it that much.
It's like
Okay.
that. Like it's like because it's like all of the attention is like about you,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm.
weird, but it's cool, especially if it's like a vibe, and that's
Mhm.
what we catered to. We tried to
Gotcha.
make sure everybody was comfortable and everybody was having like we were all having a conversation.
Yeah.
It was just like 20, 30 people all together having a conversation.
Mhm.
So I enjoyed it. That's what I learned.
Yeah, the live was definitely an interesting experience. That was my first time being on stage, on quote unquote stage. Was really a stage, but in front of people in a very long time. It's probably been at least 4 or 5 years since I've actually stood in front of people. And
You did good.
surprisingly, I didn't have that much anxiety.
No, you didn't
I
seem
was,
nervous
You look really
at
comfortable.
all. Yeah, no, he
I thought I was
seemed
gonna
so
have something-
comfortable.
I made up in my mind that I just got to do it. That's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
just get up there and just say what you got to say and just talk about things you know.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
what I did. And so I enjoyed the Method Live experience, and hopefully we will do it again because people have already asked us to do it again,
Yeah.
which was surprising because in my mind, I felt like it was not the greatest. Like it was good,
Yeah.
but there were so many things that
There's
I
things-
nitpicked. I was like, okay, we got to
There's
do
things
this
we
better.
want that we know we can
Things,
do better.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But it's the first time
Well,
we've
that's the
done
first
it.
time. That's how it
Yeah.
goes, you know?
Yeah, so definitely, if people enjoyed it, whoever's listening to this or whatever, put out feelers, let us know, and we'll we'll start working on the next one because we enjoyed it. I had a motherfucking blast.
Yes,
Okay,
we
I
know.
had such a good time. I hope everybody had a good time.
Yeah.
It was fun. I enjoyed the live, and I appreciated the audience's engagement.
Yes, and all the artists that
Oh, the artists were great.
performed, they were really good. Naja Monet was really good. J-Rod MC, everyone was pretty good. Method Lessons, Casamigos. What did you learn? This last
I
7
learned
days?
some great news today. Mackenzie Scott gave $6 million to the Urban League in Pinellas County, which I believe is like their largest maybe gift to date.
Really, Mackenzie Scott is the ex of
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
So I thought that was really cool. So congratulations to the Urban League in Pinellas County. Of course, I had to reach out to my contact for the Urban League here in Hillsborough County. And I was like, sir, did you get any of that money?
Yeah,
And he said, absolutely not. So that was kind of sad. But I understand the Hillsborough chapter
it's different.
has just started really reviving and kicking things up the past couple of years. So I'm very proud of the Urban League. That's a lot of money. And I
The
think
camera just
they're
turned
going
on?
What?
to, and they're going to do
Uh,
great things.
Maybe the battery died. Let me
Hold
double
on.
check.
I can hold on. So we can just work it from here.
Okay, that worked. So we in the last part
That's
anyway.
why we got multiple cameras.
All right. So, what I learned this week. All right. So, as always, I try to find
J
something
Rod
from
in the
TikTok.
comments, by the way. Shout out to J Rod.
If you were willing to be yourself as
Let me
fully
rewind
were,
it.
if you were willing to be yourself as fully as you possibly can, What do you imagine is the most terrifying thing that might happen?
Being rejected by everyone.
Rejected by everyone. All 7 billion people on your planet. We will have nothing to do with her. We've all gotten together and taken a vote, and she is an outcast to everyone on the planet. And maybe even on some other planets too. Now, do you believe that that will happen? That every single person on the planet will reject you?
No.
So that must mean there are some people who won't. Correct?
True, yes.
So why don't you gravitate to those?
Hmm.
Why don't you know that those will be the ones that can come into your life, that will aid and assist and enrich your life? And the ones that don't offer that, you don't want to have anything to do with them anyway, do you?
No.
So then why worry about those that reject you? Because they have nothing to do with you and you have nothing to do with them. Because you know your worth. You know your ability. You know your self-empowerment. You know your connection to source. They don't.
So I won't play the rest of the clip, but this is the guy. I don't know if you ever heard of Bashar, but Bashar is a guy who has been doing channeling since like 2002. And channeling is like, whatever you believe in, other entities coming through him, speaking the higher consciousness, telling him about human life, our ancestors, etc. So then in this clip, he's talking about obviously rejection. This woman was talking about she feeling like she will feel rejected if she be herself.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all at times ever wonder that you aren't representing your true self because you're worried about losing connection with certain people?
Yes.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Ask me the question again.
Do you ever at times wonder that you aren't representing your true self because you're worried about losing connection with people?
I mean, like,
worried about being rejected
with work.
What do you mean?
Just professionally speaking.
Yeah, professionally speaking. That's pretty much it. Like, I can't be my true self. And
I see what you're saying. Well, I
Yeah.
think it's a problem for Black people in general, people of color, where we have to
Yeah.
put on two different faces or personalities or who we are, right?
Code switch.
Code switch, yeah.
No, I absolutely feel
code
that
switch
way.
and capitalism.
I feel that way in some of my personal relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, and friendship. It can be something so minor, right? Maybe like I know there might be a huge difference in opinion on a political matter, and I purposely won't share my thoughts or my input because I already know my friend's position or stance on it, and I don't want conflict. I don't want that. I don't want something so simplistic in my mind to be the demise of our friendship.
But isn't that kind of sad? 'Cause I've definitely been
Yes.
in that situation before, that we would rather silence our opinions or who we feel we are because we don't want to lose a particular person or people. But it begs the question, are they our people if we cannot be our true selves? And that's the question I'm asking for everyone, not just people here at the table, but for the method heads as well. At some point now, I'm 41 now, and I am probably living as close to who I am as I've ever been. But there are still times where I feel like I don't express myself in certain ways, or I don't do certain things because of how it may be viewed by certain people or whatnot.
Right.
And at some point, we got to say, we got to just live. We got to be who we are, not be afraid of what we're going to lose. And maybe instead of that, focus on the people we may gain who have similar energy and vibrations that we have. Because we always say everyone's not there for the entire ride, right?
Yeah.
So
for a season and a reason.
Yeah.
But can't you have both? You don't think you can have both? Like I'm in a place of very much of just picking and choosing my battles too.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Because I've learned that passionate opinions often get in the way. And so a lot of times, I shouldn't say a lot of times,
passionate opinions often get in the way. That's a word right there. That's true. It's so true.
So when I do find myself in a certain situation, I do in my mind have a conversation with myself, and I'm like, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? Like, what is it going to do in this moment for me to express my opinion?
Yeah.
It's not really something I think about often or care about all that much. So what is right now in this moment, my sharing my opinion going to do other than fuel the fire?
Yeah. That's growth.
Yeah. So I have gotten to a place of picking and choosing, but I do see your point. I do sometimes wonder if I maybe have held myself in so much that I've missed other authentic connections with other people who maybe do match my energy level more or my thought process more. But I think that's when it's important to like get out on your own. As a big reason why I've started spending more time with myself or going out or traveling alone, because it really gives me that full freedom and space to just be myself and connect with whoever just happens to be my path in that moment.
Yeah. Something to think about, man. All right. So, Method Heads, going forward with Method Podcast, we're moving into a place where we have to create more content. In order to create more content, we need to do more podcasts, more videos, more episodes. And so with that in mind, we are removing certain things, but we're adding things too. So in case you haven't paid attention, we're now doing random episodes called Method Unscripted. We can find where we talk about different things that have no segments. Part of that also is there's no longer going to be Method Music as part of the Method original podcast, because one, we're trying to grow and we're trying to get more monetize things on YouTube and Facebook, and we can't get paid when we have music of other people's stuff. So with that in mind, we're going to remove Method Music. However, I will be doing smaller episodes based on Method Music in general, with just my commentary that will upload to Spotify for people who have shorter attention spans. And nothing wrong with that. So instead of having an hour and a half, you might get a 15-20 minute episode. All right. So with that said, we'll be back next week. Any final thoughts? Where can we follow us at? You know where to follow us at by now.
At A Method Podcast everywhere.
Everywhere, man.
Especially OnlyFans.
Well, that's it. Until next week, man.
Stop
We
it.
appreciate y'all.
Get with you.
Oh, they say the liquor make you talk quicker. We say M is for
Mostly.
E is for
Everybody.
T is for talking. H is for
Honestly.
O is for
Over.
and D is for drinks. Until next week, man. Holla.
So that was wild. And that was just a taste. We do this every week. Just check out last week's episode.
He's right. That was wild. And you can catch last week's episode, the video episode, on Spotify, all the audio, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM. We appreciate y'all. See you soon.